Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the mind of a true titan of industry, Ratan Tata. We're going to look at some of his most powerful speeches and from them, piece together a blueprint for leadership. And this isn't just about playing the game, it's about completely changing it.
Okay, so let's jump right in. What's the biggest single obstacle to any kind of innovation? Well, Ratan Tata has a name for it, the myth of can't. And, it's this wall that pretty much every leader, every innovator smacks right into. It all kicks off with this one simple but really destructive phrase.
Just think about it for a second. How many times have you heard that? It's the kind of phrase that doesn't just stall a project, it stalls careers. It can sink entire companies. And like Tata says, it's even held back whole nations. It's the ultimate mental roadblock, right?
So, here's Tata's direct challenge to that whole mindset. He basically says that a leader's number one job is to be a professional mythbuster. Your job is to hear someone say it can't be done and immediately think, aha, there's the opportunity.
And look, for him, this isn't just some business school theory. It's deeply personal. He talks about how frustrating it was early in his own career, Being told his ideas were, premature, that he should just wait until he had more experience. That feeling of being shut down, he never forgot it. And you know what? That very frustration is what fueled one of his greatest triumphs, the Tata Indica. The idea was totally radical back then. Build a car made entirely in India. Everybody, all the experts, said it was impossible without foreign help. The chorus of "can't be done" was deafening, but he just pushed forward. And the Indica, it didn't just launch, it went on to capture 20% of the market. It was the ultimate proof of his whole philosophy, that the absolute greatest pleasure in life is doing what everyone tells you is impossible. So, okay, if step one is shattering the myths, that leads to a pretty big question, right? Where do these huge, world-changing ideas actually come from? Well, according to Tata, the answer is definitely not where you'd expect. It's not in the fancy corner office, it's in the garage.
So Tata does this thing where he points to some of the most transformative companies out there. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, companies that have literally changed how we all live our lives. And then he asks a really simple but powerful question about them.
And the answer? It's a huge reality check. These behemoths, they weren't born in some sterile billion-dollar boardroom. No. They were kicked off by individuals, a lot of the time in garages or dorm rooms, who were just driven by this simple, unshakable belief that they could actually make a difference.
And that, right there, is the blueprint for the modern enterprise. It's not about needing massive amounts of capital or huge factories anymore. It's built on something way more powerful. Just an innovative idea, an idea that exists right inside your mind.
Okay, but a brilliant idea on its own isn't going to be enough to get you through the tough times. And this is where Tata really emphasizes that a true leader needs something else, an unshakable internal compass to guide them on that long journey.
Because to navigate all the risks, all the pressures that come with building something totally new, he argues you need that unshakable foundation. He actually breaks it down into 3 core pillars, 3 things that should guide every single decision you make.
Pillar number 1 is ethics. And for him, this is totally non-negotiable. It means you have to hold on to the value system you want to see in the world and accept absolutely no exceptions. Not even when it's the harder path, especially when it's the harder path.
All right, pillar number 2, humility. The idea here is that true success doesn't need to scream its own name. And Tata has this perfect analogy for it. He says, a Nobel Prize winner never has to walk into a room and tell you they won the prize. Other people do that for them. Your actions should speak so loudly that you don't have to say a word. And then there's the third pillar, which might just be the most crucial one of all. And that's your purpose. It's all about your fundamental why. Why are you doing this in the first place? As Tata himself puts it, he isn't just looking to invest in any founder, he's looking for a very specific kind of motivation. So you can really see the 2 paths he's talking about here. On one side, you've got the founders who are just completely driven by the idea itself, by this passion to make a real difference. And on the other side, those are the founders who are just focused on valuations on a quick cash out. For Tata, it's crystal clear which one he's going to back. And honestly, for any entrepreneur out there, it forces you to ask a really important question. Which one are you? What are you really building? And this whole focus on purpose, it naturally leads to an even bigger question. How do we even define success? Because for Ratan Tata, it has almost nothing to do with your company's final valuation.
And this is where he goes right after the modern obsession with personal wealth as the only measure of success. He basically argues that if, at the end of the day, a big bank account is the only thing you've built, you've completely missed the point.
So, what's the real benchmark then? What should we be aiming for? For Tata, it's a feeling. It's being able to go home at night, put your head on the pillow, and feel genuinely satisfied that you made a difference. That your work, your ideas, all that effort, it actually contributed something meaningful.
And he also has this powerful message for anyone who's had the privilege of a good education. He says that privilege comes with a real responsibility, a duty even, a duty to give back, to use what you've learned to help your country, and to never, ever forget about the millions of people who weren't as fortunate.
And it's that sense of responsibility, really, where all of these different ideas come together, right? Busting those myths of can't be done, innovating from the garage, leading with absolute integrity. For Tata, these aren't just good business strategies. They're the actual tools you use to build the future of an entire nation.
You know, it's amazing. When he looks at the next generation, he doesn't feel nostalgia for the past. He says he feels envy for their future. He is absolutely convinced that young people today are standing in front of the single greatest opportunity in India's entire history to build something truly remarkable.
And that right there, that is his ultimate call to action, to finally unleash the Indian tiger, to unlock the nation's incredible potential, all its intellectual horsepower, its entrepreneurial spirit, and to do it through innovation, integrity, and just a relentless drive to make a difference.
So you see, he's not just trying to offer a little bit of inspiration here. He's passing the torch. He is putting the responsibility for shaping the country's destiny squarely on the shoulders of the next generation of leaders.
And so after all this entire blueprint for leadership, it really leaves us with one last very personal question. It's not just about what can you achieve, it's about what impact are you willing to fight for. The real question is, what difference will you make?